Well, 2 men are safe on land today after their boat sank in the Gulf of Mexico. A crew from the Mobile Area Coast Guard base spent nearly 18 hours on this rescue mission. Fox 10 News reporter Libby Amos spoke with one of the men who was rescued.
When Shane Lowell and his childhood friend George Kafanis pulled out of Turner Marina Wednesday morning, they never dreamed they would come home aboard the Coast Guard Cobia a day and a half later.
Normally at 6 knots towing, 4 hours, 5 hours.
Shane and George were in a 17-foot bass boat towing a 43-foot sailboat. The men were en route to Biola Battery when they missed a turn and left the Mississippi Sound. That's when the weather turned bad and the bass boat started sinking.
So I started heading into the wind and then tied him up beside us because it started taking on water, his little boat. And then it started beating, so we got out of it and just left the motor running and tied the wheel and went as far as we could, and it started sinking. We did everything we could to save it.
But at that point, the waves took the bass boat under. This is a Coast Guard cutter ship docked in calm seas. During last night's rescue mission, Coast Guardsmen say they were dealing with seas over 12 feet. To put that in perspective, waves were crashing somewhere just below the ship's nameplate. Lieutenant Matt Mitchell was in command of the Coast Guard Control Center during the search for the boaters.
This case was also challenging because of some other factors, equipment factors. The only method of communication these men had with the Coast Guard was through a cell phone. Cell phones have very limited use offshore.
Shane started shooting flares to try to give his location.
Thank God they saw me on the second flare and spotlighted me, and I spotlighted them back. SOS.
The Cobia crew was able to get both of the men off the sailboat and onto their ship.
Successful mission, extremely difficult mission, probably one of the most difficult rescues I've seen the Coast Guard in this area accomplish yet.
Reporting in Mobile, Libby Amos, Fox 10 News.
And the Coast Guard got some help in that search from a refrigerated cargo ship that was coming into the port. That 500-foot ship helped to verify the location of the 2 men.